really thanks very much. It's a great honor. We are very proud and very happy to see this great workshop, this conference in general, but this workshop in particular today, organized here in our university. It's really a great honor. Thanks very much to Clément and Justin, of course. Thanks for all of you, and particularly the speakers. That's really first. The second is that, of course, you see that my English is not so good, so I hope that your ear won't bleed with my accent. And so I start to apologize. I'm sorry, I'm obliged to apologize, you know that. Because
Remember that English is a dialect of French.
Yes, English is a dialect of French, it's true, but each language is a dialect of something, you know. For English it's French, but okay. So, they couldn't have chosen something bad. But it's not the case. So, it's difficult, of course, to summarize so many discussions, so many point of view. What did we understood? We understood that small is beautiful, okay, that's great. But what is microlith? It's not easy to know exactly what is microlith, where does it start, when does it stop, and so on. Something very interesting for me, of course, is all the theoretical opposition. Is it correct? Theoretical opposition between different positions that we have heard today. For instance, is it possible to define absolute limit of what is microlith everywhere in Australia, in South Africa, in Finland, even in England, and so on. And no, I stop with England, okay. But I'm so no, bref. Okay, you understand. Is it possible to define a precise limit of what is a microlith, or is it always something relative? I mean, is it related to other things, as a blade, for instance? So we can define a microlith because we have microlith. Or is it really possible to have a universal definition? Behind this question is a question, another theoretical opposition between two positions. Industry, we could imagine that industry have their something, I don't know how to say that correctly, but their own rules, their own evolution. What I want to mean is that we don't care about the socio-economical context. We don't care about different elements. We just see what could be the evolution of an industry in general. Like, for instance, evolution of the débitage Levallois in different parts of the world, but without taking into account the socio-economical context and the particular situations that you could have here or here. Or you think that socio-economical context is the most important thing, which determine an industry to be like that and not to be like that. And this for me, this is the real theoretical opposition. And behind this real theoretical opposition is a question which I started to see if it's possible to have absolute limit to define microliths or not. And of course, it gives some great difference in terms of methodological approach. This discussion offered to me to say something about the opposition, which is often seen between the chain opératoire approach as an approach which is not very quantitative and the quantitative approach. In fact, for me, the difference is not here. It's not between qualitative and quantitative. The difference is not here. The difference is between an approach which predefine the criteria and predefine the quantitative parameters that she will apply, and this is the quantitative approach that someone of you and a lot of people follow, and the chain opératoire approach, which is also a quantitative approach, but this is by the analysis that you finally define the good quantitative data that you want to show. You see the difference is, for me, the difference is there. There is not one quantitative and the other qualitative. Both are quantitative, but one is predefined the quantitative parameter, and the other one defined by the analysis where are exactly the good limit for us. For instance, it means that for us, of course, a bladelet, there is no one size of bladelet all over the world. There is a bladelet could exist, but a bladelet could be length of 2 by 1 by 1 millimeters, and it could be bigger, smaller, and so on. It depends if the analysis is give us the possibility to show exactly where are the right and the good limit in quantitative point of view. My English is it clear or not? Yeah, really? Because sometimes I don't understand myself. So okay. But anyway, even if you understand that I follow the second way, I'm a chain operator approach scholar. Even that, we have all of us, even if we follow one way or the other way, we have to explain some success. And it's true that at certain moment during the prehistory, some success exists, and particularly the microlithization. It's true that it's a success which could have appeared at one moment, disappeared, reappeared, and so on, and we have to explain that. And particularly, it's true that during the late Pleistocene, and particularly at the onset between the Pleistocene and the Holocene, in different parts of the world, the small things that we could call microlights have a great success, and that we have to explain that. Among the different way of interpretation that we have heard today, there is a lot. I think that you will summarize after Justin the different way that we have heard today. I would like to say that for me, first things is that we have to determine if the small size is not linked, of course, to the raw material. It's basically the first question. If there is a strong raw material constraints, it's very difficult to pronounce for us, the constraints. So if there is a strong raw material constraints, of course, it's we have to start by this explanation, of course. So, first step, for instance, it's a discussion that we have heard with health and if there is a strong raw material constraints or not. If there is not a raw material constraints, for me, the best way to interpret the microlithization is linked to the question of mobility and anticipation. I think it's really the best way to understand why at certain moment people want to to have tools in general. When I say tools, I don't mean weapons or domestic tools, but have an equipment, lithic equipment, which is smaller and smaller in size. It's I think it's quite always linked to the question of mobility and the needs for circulation and diffusion of object or people in a larger scale of territory. That's my point of view. I think a lot of point of view, a lot of people, a lot of you say the same thing today, and I agree. I really agree with that. So it means what? It means that when I read an article or any books in prehistory, and when I see that the scholar is written something about a small industry or microlithization, for me, what are the three questions that I want to see developed? First, as I said before, the question of the constraints of the raw material. That's the first. We have to know exactly what are the raw material sources to be able to determine the choice that people had, of course, first. Secondly, if possible, we have to have an idea of the function of the tools made, of course. Because it's true that the function is also a constraint. You can put a big biface and axis on a arrowhead. As a arrowhead, of course. So you have there is you use as a constraint and an important constraint of the size on the size of the tools. But the most of the time, unfortunately, and I look Marlies, we don't know, even if you do a wonderful job, you and all the people who work on microanalysis and analysis of the residues, most of the time we don't know exactly at what purpose is in front of us when we are looking for when we are looking at tools. But we could try to have an idea of that, to know if the diminution of size is linked to the question of use. And the third question for me is mobility. Voilà. And mobility means to have a good idea of where are coming from the raw material and so on, to see if the diminution of size is linked to extension of the size of the territory, circulation of tools in space, and so on, so on. That for me, the three questions that I want to see. The guy who, the article could employ different words, microliths if you want, small if you want, even mod 5, even if I think that mod is, I prefer to don't say what I think about mod as for England. But no, I'm joking. You can use different terminology, but for me, I want to see the different description about raw material, if possible, use, and discussion about mobility. So, what kind of terminology should we use? Today, a lot of different propositions have been pronounced, and it's very interesting. It's also very interesting to see the story of each of us, the school where we are coming from, which give us also the idea to go in that way or in that way in terminology. For instance, microliths and syncilith is very interesting, but I see behind that formal and formal. I see the same idea to distinguish something formal and something informal with other words. Because for me, it's true that microliths is not it's not obligation that microliths is research, for instance. I think it's really a South African, perhaps a tradition of research. As the role that we give to the BACT also, as Clément has shown, is really could be seen as linked to the tradition of leaky, for instance, because it also for a lot of people the fact that something is backed or not backed is not at all has nothing to see with has something to see with microlights, but not really. In fact, I think it's the contrary. Microliths, because it's very small, need to be aftered, of course, the most of the time. Not all the time, but the most of the time. And of course, the fact to do a back retouch is one of the solutions, not the only one, but one of the solutions which has been employed to facilitate to haft. So it's totally normal that a lot of microlights are backed. But I think it's not true to do to renverser. To do the opposite in the voilà. You understood what I want to mean? Okay. Sorry. So for me, backed, I understand the tradition of leaky, but you see, so what terminology? Really, I don't know. I know that now Justin will continue the discussion in a much better English, I think. But even if you do some mistake, I'm not. No, I'm joking. But me, I have no good terminology to give. What I would like to say to finish my my short talk is that for me, I prefer to use microliths in a specific context or in a specific question. As said today, Marlies, terminology is linked to the questions that we have and not the contrary for me. And for instance, I'm very interested in the definition of what is microlight tips, for instance. And for me, tips, I mean a part of a weapon, the point of the, is it correct, tips? Point is better. And it's true that it's very interesting to compare, for instance, micro Levallois point with other kind of points, even in different parts of the world. We could have a comparison. It's interesting to do a comparison of different kind of points if we are sure that they are afted at l'extrémité.
On the end.
On the end, voilà, on the end of the shaft. It's interesting. Of course, if it's a lateral, if mounted in lateral, it's a totally different question, but it's interesting also. But for me, voilà, macrolite points on different form, different technology. It's of course interesting to see that. It's interesting to well distinguish also microlite components and microlite assemblage. I want to mean a part of an assemblage which is macrolite in comparison with another part of the same assemblage which is not macrolite, but which is not microlite but macrolite. My pronunciation is too bad. With an I or A, you understood? Okay, so it's interesting. Or a macrolite assemblage, I mean an assemblage which is totally macrolite. because perhaps the raw material constraint is strong, but perhaps also because this is a choice, a particular choice to have all the diminution in size of all the assemblage for the weapons, but also for other kind of tools. So for me, at this level of definition, it starts to be interesting, but not on a universal level. Voila, this is my short conclusion, and please now I give Justin, this is your turn to propose. But each language is a dialect of something, you know. For English it's French, but okay. So, they couldn't have chosen something bad. But it's not the case. So, it's difficult, of course, to summarize so many discussions, so it's not so good, so I hope that your ear won't bleed with my accent. And so I start to apologize, offer. I'm sorry, I'm obliged to apologize, you know that. Because I...
Remember that English is a dialect of French.
Yes, English is a dialect of French, it's true, but... Really, thanks very much. It's a great honor. We are very proud and very happy to see this great workshop, this conference in general, this workshop in particular today, organized here in our university. It's really a great honor. Thanks very much to Clément and Justin, of course. Thanks for all of you, and particularly the speakers. That's really first. The second is that, of course, you see that my English is so many point of view. What did we understood? We understood that small is beautiful, okay, that's great. But what is microlith? It's not easy to know exactly what is microlith, where does it start, when does it stop, and so on. Something very interesting for